What makes a good final boss fight? Some people would say that difficulty should be the main aspect, saying it should be the most difficult fight of the campaign, testing my character build and seeing how well I perform. Other people would say it's the culmination of my character arc, talking about the changes and evolution of where they were in the beginning to how they are now. With our parameters set, I wanted to really bake both these ideas into the monster, creating a difficult boss fight with clear moments of climax for both the Dungeon Master and player characters. So why a dragon, and not a vampire lord or a god? Obviously, dragons have been shown as the apex predator in a lot of fantasy media. From literature to movies and all the way to video games, dragons have a reverence to them, often given highly destructive powers or representing the pinnacle aspect of nature. The iconic status of a dragon made it the optimal choice for an end-of-campaign creature. For Val, most of my character design inspirations comes from media I've interacted with personally. Games such as Dark Souls or even Monster Hunter would be my main sources. Creatures such as Calamity, especially from the original Dark Souls, had a definite influence on how I wanted to design Val. With a sleeker design and less bulky frame, we want to convey the sense of sort of sharpness, like a lethal edge just by looking at the monster. In terms of actual mechanical design, I wanted Val to feel like a massive monster in comparison to any player character. In my personal opinion, Dungeons & Dragons does a horrible job representing the scale of creatures. A lot of the options the Dungeon Master gets while playing a dragon are limited and feel rather diminutive to the actual creature itself. Examples such as their tail attacks and bite attacks don't make sense. They both do moderately high damage, however, the problem is they only deal it to one single target at a time. A dragon, which should be 8 to 10 times the size of a player, can only make an attack on a single target at a single time. To me, this is both disappointing and causes a ludonarrative dissonance for the Dungeon Master and player. The most direct solution would be just to make these attacks hit a larger area of effect, making them act more like abilities rather than traditional attacks. The claws I had opted for a cone attack, while the tail acts more like a sweep that knocks back all creatures within a certain distance. Some people might say that's a difficult change to make simply because when you have multiple abilities that can hit multiple people, the scaling in terms of damage becomes harder to manage. Hitting one target and dealing 20 hit points worth of damage is a world of a different from hitting 3 targets for the same 20. In order to balance out these effects, I had to add some sort of counterplay in the form of limiting the range of each attack, making it a once per turn ability, or allowing the players to make a saving throw to cushion the blow. By implementing any one of these drawbacks, we give players the ability to make meaningful counterplay decisions, heightening the intensity of the fight. Another important aspect to a dragon is its breath attack. Universally, one of the most memorable aspects of the dragon is being able to unleash a devastating elemental attack from their mouth, dealing massive damage. The problem is that it's the least enjoyable thing about the dragon in terms of abilities in the context of base Dungeons & Dragons. A dragon's breath attack is usually unfun at best to play against. They give players too little agency, and if your Dungeon Master gets a little lucky rolling a 5 or a 6 on the dragon's turn, it instantly recharges its breath attack and can make the fight feel unfair to play against. Instead of making the dragon's breath attack be another simple ability that it could use on any one of its turns, I decided to make it the central focus of the entire fight. To give the players agency, I designed the gimmick around a resource bar that they could see and interact with. Upon reaching the maximum threshold, Val would use his breath attack. This would be an undodgeable aerial effect that covers the entire arena. Because players can dictate when Val would use this devastating attack, they could plan rounds in advance to counteract and prepare for it, giving the players a rewarding sense of mastery throughout the fight as they figured out more of Val's mechanics and gaining a deeper understanding of their own fundamental kits. The delicate balance of weaving in and out of each of Val's attacks, managing his resource bar, and still doing damage to the creature invokes an elegant dance between both the players and the Dungeon Master as they both attempt to be the last one standing. At the end of the day, Val Kaldatass was a success. It delivered everything I wanted as a Calamity class monster, a difficult fight with several intense and climactic moments, granting the players their final test. I hope you enjoyed this month's Dungeon Master design dive. Follow us on all our social media at Calamity Codex, and stay tuned for next month where we talk about the Trial of Honor. And remember, may the stars be an eternal presence.